Hey, what's up everybody? Before we get into the unknown, I want to show off this mod real quick. It's the Grogu plushie doll. It's by Radiclown. It's the only Star Wars mod that I have, but how could I not, right? Real quick, subscribe to the channel. Hope you like the video. Let me know in the comments what you think down below. I'm Tommy. This is obviously Math Productions. And this episode, we're going into the unknown. Alright, so jumping right to it, we're going to fast travel from the lodge up to the eye, where we're going to dock. So obviously if you don't know much about the main quest, this is the quest that really kind of adds a wrinkle to the game, changes the game from the way it starts out, in pretty drastic ways, right? So I feel the need to say, even though I personally am a spoiler junkie, if you are not, and if you have not played Starfield, or at least the main quest directly, and you're trying to avoid spoilers, you probably shouldn't watch this episode at all. But, so assuming that you're cool with spoilers, or you played the game, and you just want to see how I go through this quest line here, stick around. Let me know in the comments, like I said, what you think down below, if you did things any differently, or what you think of kind of the wrinkles that this quest adds in to the game, specifically talking about the temples and the powers, right? But back to the quest line here, we got to the eye, we docked. If you saw on screen, before I went and talked to Vladimir, I dipped to the right at that initial kind of intersection in the eye. And in the room off to the right in that side hallway, you can pick up a skill magazine. Don't forget to grab that. And then once I talked to Vladimir, he told me about these other artifacts that I could track down. Told me that Andreja is out in the field. And if you talk to him after the fact, two little things you can pick up. One, he can buy survey data from you. And if I recall correctly, he offers you the best prices, no matter what, for that survey data. He also has a whole lot of credits, like off top, even with just like default vendor credit limits or whatever. He's got a lot. But the other side quest he gives you is he talks about how he used to be a part of the Crimson Fleet. And he had a safe house, basically, that's got a bunch of his loot and plunder from his pirating days. So you can go and track that down. It's super far east on the star map, not that easy to get to at the beginning of the game, but there is at least one pretty legitimate gun that you can get at his villa. But yeah, so back to the quest line here. I just fast traveled away from the eye once I undocked. I personally like when it goes to the other artifact first. There's two artifacts it sends you to. One of them, there is like no contest to get the artifact. You just have to like travel a pretty boring distance to get it. The other one, you gotta fight your way through this dungeon, and this is where you end up encountering, obviously, Andreja. But it sent me to this one first, no big deal. Went in, met Andreja, now we're just kind of speeding through this dungeon. I'm bypassing a whole lot of loot. It's not like amazing loot, but there is some pretty good stuff that you can pick up. Not even talking about like junk resources or anything like that. There's some pretty decent loot you can pick up. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just trying to get through this initial portion, like I've called it before, the phase 2.0 of the tutorial. You've noticed I've been collecting stuff throughout the beginning portion of the game so far, but I haven't like sold anything, or I'm still just rocking a spacesuit because I don't actually have any apparel. On top of like I've been talking about how this quest changes the game in regards to the temples and the powers, after Into the Unknown, basically what I'm going to do is go ahead and install and start actually using all of the Starfield modifications, additions, and I'm also, before I start the Empty Nest quest, I'm going to actually go to, I think, probably EIT Clothiers and get an actual outfit and go over to Aquila City looking nice, right? So that's also why I'm rushing through this. So you saw I didn't even kill like all the spacers in this area, just kind of grabbing stuff, sprinting through, got the artifact, grabbing stuff as I'm sprinting through on the way out, and I'm just gonna leave those couple dudes shooting at me down there. Not even worried about it. You could obviously take the time to take them out. I think 1 or 2 of them has some pretty good gear on them, and it might be worth it to take them out, but I'm not doing it at this point. We're just gonna run back out to the beginning of the dungeon, activated that and robot thing. Didn't even help me out, but so once we get out here, I'm still in combat. Didn't realize immediately. That's why I pulled up the map, but I couldn't actually get away. But it kind of worked out because I got in some free boost jumps, which will help me level up that skill. Got back to the frontier, taking off, and we're just gonna fast travel right over to the next quest marker, the second artifact that you pick up at this portion of the quest line. Somebody was trying to holler at us, we just ignored him. Yeah, so we're at Tau Ceti for the second artifact that we're picking up for this quest. Like I mentioned, this one's like not bad because you don't have to like fight with any enemies per se. There can definitely be wild, aggressive fauna, so you might have to be wary of that. Of course, for this playthrough, this video, we got to experience just that. There were some ones that were pretty easy on the way around, or the way here actually to get around. There is one up there, right? So these guys are aggressive. If they see me, they will attack. So I'm doing my best to try to avoid them. Like, of course, they're just gathered right there at the entrance to this cave. So like the game wants me to fight them, clearly. But I'm not about that life right now. I got like, what is that, 43 bullets to my name, plus the 2 for the machine gun. Yeah, so we just ran through. Even though it triggered a combat, they saw us. They're not following us in the cave. And you basically just hug the left once you enter this cave, and it's a pretty straight shot right to the artifact. Once you pick up the artifact, it's a pretty straight shot. Again, just hug the right side. The first time, hug the left. On the way back, hug the right. But it'll get you right back out. Now, where I said those dudes won't follow you in, dude definitely was just waiting for me right outside the cave. He got a lucky smack in. He's a punk. But we flew away because we're brave. Oh, there's one. When we got far enough though, we crouched down. Once we were hidden, we were out of combat, and we just fast traveled right back to the lodge. We deposited the 2 artifacts that we picked up. And now this is the point where the game starts to change. Because before then, right, all we were doing, dungeon crawling, picking up a companion, picking up these artifacts, having the vision when we touch the artifact, all that's from the very beginning of the game. So that's not unusual. But when we get these artifacts back, we get told to go back to visit Vladimir. So we leave, get in the frontier, go back up in the orbit, get back to the eye. And after docking at the eye, make our way back to Vladimir. He tells us about these really big anomalies, similar to these artifacts, much bigger, and the signal that they're putting out or whatever. So we got to go track this down and figure it out. So we get in the frontier, we undock, and we make our way to the next planet in this quest chain, right? Side plug. In another video, I talk about some game-changing mods, and one of them I mentioned is the Revelations main quest overhaul. And so that quest line, I said, it introduces you to the first temple when you get your first power. After that, every time you pick up an artifact, you just automatically get the power. You don't have to run the temple minigame. So we're at that point now where we're running the first temple. You can see it right there. Luckily, a little tip on the side, whenever you land at the planet, if you are doing the temple chase, like scan around 360 before you exit your ship, especially and only when you're in third person view, right? So normally you can see actually in the distance where the temple is. So if you were running each temple of each playthrough, you don't necessarily have to pull your scanner up and look for the anomalies. A lot of times you'll be able to see the temple literally from your ship. But you get to the temple, you got to follow those little blinky things. I think you have to hit 5 before any of them time out. And once you hit 5, boom, this thing opens up. You get blasted by the light. You have another trippy vision. And you wake up with a power. Yeah! But yeah, so after this one, we'll see what happens with the next quest line that we get at Artifact. What happens with the mob we're using. We'll see if we just get the power automatically, if it works right. I'm kind of excited to see how that works. But so to finish up Into the Unknown, you get back to the lodge, you show off your new superpower, and we get ready to gather the team for the Empty Nest expedition. I'll see y'all next time. Take care till then.